Hello again. We are starting off cute with some garden cloches. Cloches. You don't think that's cute? Well, they will be. I grabbed these from the dollar store, a pack of 3 for $2.50, I believe. Beyond being in the garden, I'm not sure what these are actually used for, but I saw them and I knew I could do something with it. Turns out it's this. They have an opening at the top, so I made sure to close that off so nothing got out. And the first one I did a test on, where all I did was spray paint the inside.
One day later.
That one ended up being the worst coverage and I had to go back with multiple coats on this. So the rest of them I used a high-grade sanding sponge and roughed up the entire inside so hopefully the paint would actually stick better, and I think it did. Then I took a damp towel and took out any residue left over, switched the towel around and dried it down. And then painted these. 3 different colors. Though the last one was the hardest as it had the product sticker on it and that was really stuck on. Then it was time to make the quote-unquote fake sugar on them. Oh crap. Oh, okay. I used a spray adhesive for this, and at first, once again as a test, I thought to use sand from the dollar store, but I quickly realized I didn't like the look of it. It was giving more like sour vibes rather than sweet. I don't know if I like the look of that. So I went an alternative route, which was glitter in a different tone. So it was very noticeable. For the pink, I did a dark pink. The yellow, I did a gold. If this looks different, it's because, well, I've already done it incorrectly. And the blue, I wiped off the sour sand and did a navy. Now you could stop here and these are good to go, as you could put maybe like a light under them or add a clear coat that's like weather resistant kind of thing. But if you're wanting to maybe hang them up perhaps or stack them, I added a bottom, which was easy enough. I took a large piece of cardstock, again from the dollar store, and individually placed them on and traced around them. I cut these circles out. I placed both a generous amount of E6000 glue for a long-term hold and hot glue for an immediate hold onto the inner edge. Then place the cardstock down and cut it down further to size. I held it in place for a few seconds just to get that grip on, and then I left that for a few hours and came back with a pair of scissors to make a simple hole in about the middle. This can officially be hung up on a wall either with a command hook or as it's light enough, or nails if you don't need to worry about being renter friendly. Next up is rockets, which actually have many names to them, oddly enough. To get the look the easiest, I went with pool noodles, as I had 4 different colors around the same shape and size, at least width-wise. I measured out a few of them at about 2 inches and ripped a hole in them to be kind of the marker, because I didn't want to actually leave a mark on these because they would be showing. Then I took my foam cutter and simply cut out those marks. Some of these pool noodles were bought with the intention of being used in DIY, but some of them I did get secondhand, hence the color distortion a little bit. Okay. I then tried to stack them, but they soon fell over. Ah! No! Oh no! So I placed them side by side and placed a hose through them to keep them together and in place. Honestly, it was kind of giving me like bead vibes kind of, or like Taylor Swift Eras bracelets kind of thing. I then grabbed a thicker gauge wire, found out the length that I needed it to be, and doubled that so I could twist it together to make it stronger. I did this by taking a drill, securing one end, and holding onto the loop end with some wire cutters, and turning the drill on. Literally does the work for me. Easy peasy, something about squeezing lemons. I fed that through the hole in the hose. This is going to make it now so they not only stay together, but now it's actually technically posable. I could wrap it around something, or just to make sure it does stay straight. For added protection and to add to the look, I used a clear wrapping paper and did just that. Wrapped it up. Oh god, no. Being sure to have lots of extra at the ends to secure all the pieces. I used packing tape as it's clear so it would blend in the most. Then I twisted the end of the wrapper plastic, I'm going to call it, because it's not actually paper, to emulate the wrapping on the actual candy itself, and then once again secure that with packing tape. For the branding though, I had to figure out which name I was going to use, and since I grew up with rockets, I decided on that. I searched the logo up online and adjusted it on a photo editing website so I would get it to the size I needed, which happened to be around half a piece of paper, hot dog style. If you know, you know. I printed both halves on the same paper and did that in black and white to use less ink. And cut the paper in half, situated them together and adding a piece of plastic over top, being sure that the plastic was translucent. With a few craft paint brushes and literally just hobby or like school glue and alcohol paints, I tinted the school glue and used it to outline and fill in the logo. Oh. My hope was that the outside would dry and the underside would still remain a little tacky, or at least shiny enough that it would stick to the faux candy, as I've seen people use this method to make like window stickers. It didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, but the logo did come out fairly well. All I really had to do was to make it stick was add a long piece of tape over the top and cut it fairly close to the edge as to give a little bit of allowance so it wasn't too noticeable, but enough tape on the outside to actually tape it to the candy, and that worked like a charm. Next with this swirly little delight, again it was fairly easy in theory, but the execution took some practice and a lot of elbow grease. I took 2 pool noodles, pink and blue, and added them side by side the longest way, and used translucent packing tape once again to secure them together, using pieces I think like 4 or 5 horizontally and then 1 long piece vertically in to connect them fully. Then with duct tape, one being blue first, I went in a candy cane type of design, I don't know, like a swirly one of sorts, if that makes sense, spinning as I went so it was as even as possible. Then using the literal possible worst tape Dollarama has to offer to use it up, literally, that's it. I did the same thing, making it about halfway between the blue swirls. Honestly, like, so rude. So rude. Okay, so do you see this? All I needed was like 3 inches more. Not even. Maybe. I hate that so much. Like, do you see that? All it needed was, I want to measure that. Find out exactly how much that needed. Maybe 5.5 inches. Maybe. Using a broomstick from the dollar store, I'm taking the plastic design off with just an X-Acto knife to reveal a white metal rod. I tried and tried and tried so many times, many times, to twist the pool noodles around the rod.
Round 1. Fight!
It was definitely a process, as you'll be able to see.
Round 2. Fight!
Oh my god.
Round 3. Fight! Round 4. Fight! Round 5. Fight! Round 5. Fight!
What ended up working the best for me was actually doing the first couple of turns on the table, gripping very hard and then keeping them in place, and putting what I had already done between my legs and twist up with my hand. I then used the same packing tape and wrapped it around and around and around to make sure that the pool noodles did not move. Then using brute strength, I pushed it down to the end of the pole. This did take a bit as it was really stuck on tight, luckily, but also unlucky, a blessing and a curse. Making sure once again that there was edges at the bottom and twisting that up and securing it as well. And the last one, I took a piece of reclaimed plywood and had it cut down to size, placed these to-go containers on top to map out where they would go. And I tested out which glue I would be using. It was kind of between the E6000. How has it literally been so long since I've used my hot glue gun that I don't know where it is? And hot glue, but I did have fabric glue already in my hot glue gun that I could not remove. So honestly, I just tried that out just to see until it ran out. With that being said, I used the E6000 in the end, but the hot glue was a strong contender. Now, we shall see tomorrow.
One day later.
So, the moment of truth. Oh. Okay, so for obvious reasons, definitely not the fabric glue. Granted, I didn't think that would work, but I think I want it with E6000. It does stick with hot glue, but it feels sturdier. I followed up by doing the rest of these. I have seen this done before, but they had used the ones from the dollar store, which I couldn't for the life of me find those, no matter how hard I looked, no matter how many dollar stores I went to. These are still takeout containers, however, they don't come in multiples. Like, there aren't two of them connected, they come in just one. They're still in a pack, but just one at a time kind of thing. Once I had finished one of the pieces of ply, I set it aside with some weight on it to make sure that nothing went anywhere, and then started on the second. You could definitely make this all in one go, but I wanted to make mine collapsible or like be able to bend it and be stored easier if I needed them to. Finally got it! It looks like a little mushroom. Once both sides were dry, I added small hinges to the back, not worrying much about the screws going through as these are hidden physically right now, so there's no chance of me maybe like hitting it and hurting myself. And soon enough they won't be even seen, so. I flipped the pieces and decided between two brown spray paints that I owned. This is actually more chocolatey. And went to town, being sure to coat each takeout container evenly. Lastly, adding the wrapper with wrapping paper. First, foil for the foil. Being sure it's the extra wide, and I prefer the extra heavy duty. I wrapped it around twice. And secured it again with packing tape. Guess we're gonna see if this is actually long enough. That's what she said. In retrospect, I probably could have used this, but eh. With the red shining wrapping paper / plastic, I did the same. I did mess around with the foil to give it the look or appearance of having been like handled, and I cut it down on the sides so again I could make this collapsible. Tape the bottom closed and away we go. That is it for today's video. I do hope you guys enjoy, and this may be my last video of the year. So I will see you guys next year. Bye bye.